Brain Training Podcast, episode 677.
Oh, I thought it was going to be 678, and I got real excited. But 677 is fine too. It's fine.
Yeah, it's all right. It's fine.
You know, we didn't even mention, which you think I would mention this. This year on New Year's Day was it's the Fibonacci.
I saw that.
Year.
I was into that.
So
I was into that. Yeah.
I like that Susie's into this.
Fibonacci sequence. Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah. Where like you take the first numbers and add them together and get the next. And I think this is the only time that'll happen for another 100 years. So
yeah, and I like the Fibonacci sequence to me is the perfect combo of mystery, like because math sometimes is very awe-inspiring, but also, scientific and like just fun.
And art. Yeah. And artsy.
Yes.
Because that shows up in the balance of art all the time. Like seashells. Oh, yeah. It is really cool.
Mm-hmm. That's
that
fun.
Golden ratio or whatever.
Yeah, whatever it is. It's like magic, but it's not.
Right.
It's real magic.
Real magic. I feel like we kind of got a little bit of dose of real magic recently in the news. I wasn't going to talk about this. I don't have any notes on it, but I just from memory that they being scientists, created some sort of like fusion, like nuclear fusion that is this basically the building blocks for all sci-fi movies that we have. Like it's the what made the DeLorean run in Back to the Future. It's what powers like the guy from Iron Man, like his little nuclear reactor. Like that there was some breakthrough in nuclear fusion where we created energy without, like basically by slamming two things together. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that. But I don't really know how. Yeah. But like we slammed things into each other and then created some sort of reaction by two of these atoms hitting. And then we like kept the energy. Usually it's like, I don't know how it works.
It goes away.
But it goes away or something. Like you can't, I don't know. But like this seems like a big breakthrough.
They should do a sequel like Drunk Science. That's a great
Susie!
idea.
This is a genius idea.
Wait,
actually,
we should edit that
could
out.
be a great. Maybe we'll go every other things we got wrong. / Sarah and Susie read Drunk Science. Like Drunk Science would we would do like an AM or PM version.
Yeah, right.
We should
Sarah
have like a
Susie
sober listening. Yes.
Yeah.
Sarah and Susie After Dark, where all we did was review like science and literary stuff, but
because every time we talk about this stuff, it does sound like that, where we're just the dark web or whatever, where we're just
I'm like, fuck, I don't know.
But we want to talk about it, so then we make crap up.
Yeah, I mean, but isn't that like what people do?
Isn't that what the scientists do too?
That's like what they're doing anyway, right?
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's good. Anytime I want to feel hopeful, I look at the scientists and then I feel a little better.
Yeah, we should feel hopeful about this one. It feels like this is
good job.
It's in the early stages, but it's good news for energy, I think.
You know how I just said you guys? You know how some people don't like that because it's obviously misogynistic?
Yeah, because of guys.
That is the most difficult language update. I'm really dragging my feet on that one.
Oh, I don't think I can ever change it.
But
and you know what else? You know what else I can't give up, dude.
They want us to give up, dude.
I feel like that might be next. If
that's on the chopping block.
If Hey You Guys is out, then dude,
yeah, you're right.
It's definitely.
I hate it.
Close.
They're wrong about this stuff. I know what their point is. I do understand it intellectually. Yeah. But they're wrong because some words can mean different things. Sometimes it means a dude, and then other times it means like an exclamation.
Dude. Yeah. Like how else am I supposed to convey my emotional reaction when I was in Florida with Eli and his whole family and we saw a woman with boobies the size of basketballs. I'm not kidding. Like the biggest, like might be Guinness Book of Records, biggest fake no, why can't I say breasts? Fake.
Right.
What's wrong? What happened to me there? But the biggest fake breast you've ever seen. And I couldn't, the only words I had was, dude.
Yes. Sometimes words fail us and you need a dude.
You need a dude.
Yeah. So I don't know. Can we keep that?
Yeah.
I feel like
I mean,
we got bigger
good.
problems than you guys.
Yeah. I mean, probably.
I
yes,
get it.
Definitely.
Because they'll be like, you know what you should use instead? People.
Oh, God. Oh, my gosh. I saw the funniest. Oh, my gosh. I saw the funniest. It was like a Slack interaction. So a lot of the Slack things are automated and the responses are automated. Okay. Like there's like a Slack bot that will respond, I don't know, automatic for whatever. So this person is in their office and like alone in the office, maybe like came by after work to like pick something up and gets stuck in the elevator. So goes into Slack and says, "Hey guys, I'm stuck in the lift. Can somebody help me?" The Slack bot responds because it doesn't know context. It just knows like it's pick up words.
Yeah.
And the Slack bot responds with like, "We are an inclusive organization and we recognize that you use language that might not be inclusive." And so it says, "We recommend you using," and gave a few recommendations. So 2 seconds later, there's another tweet or another like message that says, "Hi folks, I'm stuck in the elevator."
That's great.
And I just, like, Eli sent it to me, and it's like the picture, the screenshot of this interaction. Like, somebody had to be, like, could you imagine in that moment being like, "Oh, for fuck's sake.
Right.
Okay, folks, just get me the fuck out of this elevator. I don't care who I'm talking to."
But that is a perfect distillation of what I feel is they're doing all the time. Which is that
we're overcorrecting a little to the point where
we're ignoring
the actual
big problem. Like we're stuck in an elevator and we're policing language that nobody really cares about. I guarantee
if there was a non-binary individual or somebody who we are creating that new language for in that situation, elevator, they would have been like, "Yeah, I get what they were saying. We were fine with, hey, guys."
Exactly.
Like, you know, like how it's usually white people policing anybody else's, like people like of color and like going, "Oh, come on."
Right.
Just chill out.
Yeah. I can't. And
I'll take it from the members of those groups, but not.
But I also don't want to be one of those old boomers that's like, "What's wrong with saying guys?" Because
I'm like willing to change. I'm open to, but I'm like too. Context. Like this is not like a no. We can't change. We love
our priorities is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and dude is low, but like
you're really hanging on to
human rights high. The right to get married and do whatever the heck else people want to do.
Yeah, not dying by like hate crimes.
Yes,
really important.
Yes. Please.
I'll tell you what else is really important, and that is knowing what's going on in your body. And thanks to modern fertility, we can know the answer to that.
This is so great. I mean,
so great. Don't you
there
guys?
Are a million
you guys,
reasons
I just said
why we need to say.
Go ahead.
Okay,
sorry.
Ladies, people, listeners, folks. Hey, folks. Yes, listeners. That's it.
Yeah, like, is this not the perfect time for someone to be like, "I'm going to take inventory of my health and my body and empower myself for the new year"?
Yes. Knowledge is power. Like the modern fertility tests give you access to tests that would cost you so much money if you got them done. Oh.
Yeah. And you'd have to go to the doctor and all that. This is at-home testing where you can find out what's going on with your fertility. Yeah. And see like your hormone levels, your ovarian reserve. I don't even know what that is, but I'd like to know about mine.
Yes, absolutely. This was peace of mind. I was very worried, and then I found out, you got a fine amount of eggs.
Yeah, she's like fertile myrtle over there.
I'm like, oh, good, okay. Now I can sleep at night.
Yeah, but if you go to modernfertility.com/braincandy, you can get $20 off your test, which is already affordable to begin with. So I feel like if we keep making money like this, I mean...
So we say.
Right now, Modern Fertility is offering our listeners $20 off the test when you go to modernfertility.com/braincandy. That means your test will cost $159, which is a fraction of what it would cost at a fertility clinic. Get $20 off your fertility test when you go to modernfertility.com/braincandy, modernfertility.com/braincandy. And like, don't you know people that wish they would have frozen their eggs?
Absolutely. I was just having this conversation with girlfriends at dinner the other night, and we said the thing that's the most important is just having the information.
Yeah.
And so I had a friend who was going to go meet with the doctor and just arming yourself. Oh, I should give her this. Yeah. She should do this. This is
get
great.
the scoop.
This is great. Yeah, to just know what's going on and know it's just a starting point so you don't have to go in
And you're at your house. You can do it in your jammies. You send it off, and in a couple days you get your answers. Yes. Anyway, Sarah, go ahead.
Okay, what are we talking about today? Oh, did you see that Rolling Stone released its
Mad about
list
it.
of two? Yep.
Sorry,
Let's
go ahead.
talk about that.
Tell him. I interrupted.
No, this is you're doing exactly what I do. You're getting excited about the information I have. Rolling Stone came out with their list of 200 greatest artists of all time.
Wait,
and
wasn't it was singers, vocalists, something? There was a word.
Well, that was the question. That was the question that
it was singers.
Greatest singers of all time.
Greatest singers.
Yeah. So that implies that we're talking about voice, right?
It does imply that.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Why are people like Celine Dion and Annie Lennox not on that list?
Diana Ross.
I read this. So Eli and I were driving home from the mountains and we were stuck in a bit of traffic. And so he had to then hear me list all of the people and the people who got kind of snubbed. And with everyone just say their name more emphatically, Diana Ross, Annie Lennox. He's like, okay, I get it. Just like.
But Celine is by far the most glaring omission. There is no debate about her vocal abilities.
International superstar. Mm-hmm. I do understand that. Yes, the list is full of amazing singers, but there are people that I know
on the list where you who is why is this person on the list?
There were ones that there were people that I don't know. Of course, not recognizable names, but I can imagine. I'm sure there.
Was there any
I don't know, maybe older?
Oh,
Bill Withers, Eddie Vedder.
I do love
Aaron
Bill
Neville.
Withers.
I love all these people. They're good. They almost have interesting qualities to their voice.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. I don't object to that.
Right. What I often find is these Rolling Stone lists are written by the same fucking kind of guy. Mm-hmm. He's the majority bald on the top, but still has the long ponytail. He's got the hair that's kind of balding on the top.
The guy that teaches guitar lessons at the music center that your school endorses.
And then spends more time giving you the solo, jamming himself and showing you how to play it.
Jam sesh.
And then talking about all the times he played backup with whomever. And then he has a big collection of records. He definitely wears a jean jacket, but not it's cool again jean jacket. And he goes to a lot of jazz clubs / jazz festivals. Yeah.
We know the guy. Rolling Stone has had some issues on their list historically, and part of it, I think, is this perpetuation. It's sort of like how late night shows have had white men writers almost exclusively forever.
Yes.
Because, I know a guy. I'm going to invite him to be in the writer's room. And then before you know it, they're all the same person. But I think there is an element of they do it. They omit people on purpose who they know will get them press. Because I wouldn't have known this if it weren't for the omission of Celine Dion.
That's a good... And, it is interesting and kind of timely because Celine Dion's most recent tour was postponed because of a neurological condition that she was diagnosed with.
Yes.
Stiff person syndrome. So sad.
Yeah. You know what's even sadder is that my mom is obsessed with Celine Dion. And
I didn't know that.
Which is so weird because she doesn't even like music. I don't really understand it.
I didn't know that about your mom.
But she's always really loved her. And so she was upset about the stiff body syndrome diagnosis. But then when she came over recently, I said, like, hey, what's on your mind? What have you been thinking about? And she goes, just Celine Dion. I'm like, yeah, I know, it's sad. And then she goes, no, about how she's a Satanist. And I go,
what? Wait, your mom did a 180 on Celine?
Yeah, because of a YouTube video that she doesn't know who made it. She just saw it on the internet and thought it was true. And I had to break down to her about like sources and how anyone can put videos on YouTube. I mean, this woman came into my house devastated that Celine Dion had converted to Satanism and was throwing black dust on children.
No.
Yes.
Oh, God. Oh, help me.
But anyway.
That is, well.
But I am sad about her diagnosis. And, you know, that is tragic because she can't sing. And my God.
Well, and those neurological disorders where emotional stress exacerbates the condition is, it feels like this cycle that it's hard because even just being stressed about the condition. Like if I were a world touring music artist whose job it was to perform and sing, and I was diagnosed with a condition that would give me stiffness in the areas of my body that I needed to do the thing that I love and the thing that people want me to do, that would cause emotional distress. And the emotional distress makes the symptoms worse.
Yeah.
It's like, you gotta, you know, this is when I want those recording artists to like take breaks and really like take care of their bodies and rest. And there was another singer who I think was diagnosed with like something on her vocal cords. Like I want to say, was it Adele or somebody? It was somebody big who had something on their vocal cords that they had to cancel. And I was like, God, I couldn't imagine what that would be like.
Yeah. I remember watching even a documentary years ago with Celine, and when she would be touring, besides when she was on stage, she wouldn't speak because she would have to like preserve whatever. I mean, that is brutal when your tool is your voice. It's like freaking Ariel.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's brutal.
Celine Dion. I just love her. I mean, you really, I always liked her, but then when you introduced me to some of her funny videos and her peanut butter jelly
she's quirky
thing, she's so quirky and she's so great. And now I just love it. And this, I was looking at, I don't know what I was looking at, but this it like was recommending me things on Vice, probably because I was looking at this Rolling Stone like stuff, and it suggested this series from Vice. What is it called? It was so good. The Story of, and it's the story of, and then each episode is a different song by a songwriter that you love. So I watched a little bit. I didn't see the whole thing, but I watched clips of the story of Man, I Feel Like a Woman by Shania Twain. It's so good. It goes into the background of the artist, and then it talks about their process in making it. And like, I didn't know that she just ad-libbed the Let's Go Girls part. It's so fun. And so she talks about like the process of making it and like what kind of went into it. And she's got a crazy story where her parents, do you know, like, I didn't even know about this, that her parents died and she's the oldest child, and then kind of became the caregiver or like really like parent figure for her younger siblings, and like got a job working at like a singer at a resort.
Yeah.
And, like,
in
it's
Canada.
a really interesting
Although
backstory.
Then recently her memoir was published, and in that one, the story of her stepfather, who had sort of been like lionized, like in her, artist mythology even how you're describing it, like he died tragically along with her mom and then whatever. Like he was abusive.
Really?
And that only recently was sort of revealed, and it changed how I felt because previously that had been a big part of like her story because wasn't he an indigenous person or something, and that's why she ended up with the name Shania. Her real name is Eileen.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then she changed. I think he maybe was indigenous, and so that's part of why she changed her. I don't know. There was a whole thing about the name change. But I was like, oh man, that really sends a shadow over it because like this guy was pretty brutal.
Yeah. And kind of changes maybe.
But like in this story of that song, did they pretend like she's the one writing that song?
No, they have her collaborators. They have the people who are writing it with her. Yeah. Okay. And they interview like right off the bat.
Okay,
talk
good.
About like, what they want it to be. And she was more, it felt like she had more of a hand in the message of being that like powerful, like taking on a male persona almost in the video. Like she wanted to be more masculine in it. She talked about like wanting to have who you had Lincoln play for Halloween.
Right.
Yeah. Right. She wanted to have, she said something like, there was some quote from it where she was like, yeah, I want whatever version of guy boob there is. I want man boob. Like, I want that. I want sexy men in the same way like they wanted that for women.
Because that video was a nod to the Robert Palmer videos where he had all those like fembot women on guitar.
On guitar is they were not, I think those women were the ones playing the actual instruments. Yeah. They were holding them and
like this
shoulders.
Is not real. It was just, silly.
Yeah. They were props.
And so, then I made Lincoln do it.
That was so great. But so if you're looking for, this is kind of like Sarah's version of documentary roundup, it was a great series. They had a whole bunch on there.
That's
it was
great to
like,
know.
They have the Rick Astley, Never Gonna Give You Up, Teenage Dirtbag by
Green Day,
Wheatus, and ones that are really like obscure, like Who Let the Dogs Out by Baha Men.
I told you that documentary was great. Nobody believed me. That's called Who Let the Dogs Out.
Yes,
and it is so fascinating. But go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So sometimes those songs that you think are kind of like the novelty song, like silly songs. She even talked about how, in the timing of the music, they knew that it would be a song that would be played in like anthems or at sports games. So she wanted there to be a pause, like the dun 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 dun, and then enough time in the pause to hear the audience like roar. And I was like, oh, that's so good. It gives you like chills. Like it's very like fun and I don't know. I like it.
Yeah, because when you are a singer or an artist like that, you are psychologically manipulating the audience in a way that we all want.
Totally.
Like we're consenting to it. But like that's why I always say how music at church and stuff is so important because these are tools of manipulation and they can be used for good or evil.
I think that's, I talk about this. I've talked about it with my supervisors. Sometimes I even talked about it with clients that the word manipulation is seen as such a negative word. It is not.
Yeah.
We manipulate our children all the time to do things like eat their vegetables and, brush their teeth.
Yeah.
And manipulation is just using maybe your actions to impact another or a group or whatever. That's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, I wonder why it's not seen, because influence doesn't have that kind of negative connotation, but it's the same idea.
Really good point. I didn't even think about that.
Well, in the human brain, like we keep talking about, is so, not strong.
It's so many things. It's smart and dumb at the same time, and simple and also complex, and really easily like very pliable, and you can change it, but also so fixed in some things. It's so weird.
I'll tell you what's not weird. And that is giving someone a gift from Keepster. I don't know if you guys remember.
this is the cutest thing in the whole world.
These gifts are a treasure, and it's one of those things where you're like, I can't believe nobody's done this before, because
exactly,
we think a lot about how important it is to preserve photos, but what I love about Keepster is they can make things that have our text messages, and that is sometimes equal or more so important to representing like the tone of a relationship.
The growth of a relationship, like
the
where
jokes.
things start. The jokes. Oh my gosh, you could do an entire book on just jokes.
Yeah, you create these books, right? So you can turn your favorite iPhone texts and photos into a gift that's a keepsake for somebody.
Yes.
And like, I know you guys all have these friends that you send these stupid texts to that no one else would understand. But like
group texts?
Yeah.
Hello.
But to that friend or friends, this is like a treasure. It's a freaking time capsule, right?
Yes.
And they're very affordable. They start at just $12.99, and you can make something really amazing for your loved ones. It's so fun. And like while you're making it, you'll feel that same sense of like, I love this person. This is so great. Mm-hmm. They have a deal. We live and share so much of our lives on our phones. Ain't that the truth? Now you can save what's special with Keepster. So if you have an iPhone, head to keepster.co/candy and put in promo code candy for 20% off. That's keepster.co/candy and use code candy for 20% off. One last time, keepster.co/candy for 20% off. What a great gift.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm probably going to do that for Eli for
right?
Valentine's
It's really
Day.
fun. It's really fun.
It's really cute. Okay. So you inspired me last episode when you talked about your poo story.
Yeah.
And I have a real fun. This wasn't so much I was hoping that it would answer the question that the title of the article asked.
Yeah,
but
I hate
doesn't
that.
really. It's like one of those.
Yeah.
It's called "Why Is Shitting Still So Embarrassing?"
All right. Oh, and you're saying it doesn't answer that question.
Not one little. I mean, a little bit. That wasn't really the takeaway from this. It was more like interesting. Well, we love poo stories, but it is still such an embarrassing thing.
Do you think it's totally just the smell?
No, I don't.
Really?
I don't. Oh, this is a fun game. What is it that makes it so embarrassing? So the smell is one. Okay, here's the real question. If we're going to do like a either or, because to me it's the sound.
What sound?
What sound?
Are you a
silent shitter? What does it sound like when you take a shit?
Do you mean
Susie?
Do you mean tooting?
I mean tooting. But like that happens when you're somebody who doesn't release that regularly.
Yeah.
I hold it in because I'm not a farting family.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of gas.
Time, we're
okay, let me ask you this, though. If you could pick, like, I'm a genie, you can get rid of the smell or the sound. You would
sound.
You are
sound.
lying.
Sound. You can cover. What? You would go smell?
Of course.
What? But you could cover up the smell with like a million things.
You can prevent the sound. Sometimes.
This article talks about how that is not exactly as easy as you think it is to do.
I cannot believe you would rather get rid of the sound than that odor.
This is such a good poll. Yeah, I have never heard a better one ever.
Okay.
If you had a genie could grant you a wish, yep, and you could get rid of either or.
I would be so happy.
If it were silent. Ooh, this is the real silent.
Every
but
time
deadly.
you go number 2, do you make a sound? Every time?
No, not every time. And when I don't, I'm always like, no, I would disagree with
you
that.
lie so bad. You're
Sometimes
literally saying sometimes
bad.
your shit don't stink. Come on now.
That's so funny. I didn't think of it like that. But Eli and I were having this conversation. We were talking about this the other day because we had a funny moment where I was like, just go to the bathroom. Who cares? He goes, no, you're going to hear it. I'm like, you don't think I've heard it before?
Yeah,
like
right.
we've lived together for like, I don't even know how long.
Yeah.
And he was like mortified. He's like, what? You've heard it?
I like that
what
about him.
What do you think? And you've probably heard mine. Like, who cares? I know it's no big deal. But it seemed like he was more embarrassed by the sound. Because he's never been like, oh, my God, don't go in there. It's terrible.
Right. Okay.
Right?
I hear you're saying, yeah.
And especially in public restrooms. Like, I will
Okay, now there, I would rather it be silent.
Right?
Yeah.
Thank you. You could definitely pawn off the smell onto the last
Totally.
person. Oh, don't go in there. That's,
Yeah.
But if
Okay.
it's you.
But how often are you going in public, number 2?
I'm going more often than you'd think. What? I don't know why.
Like, how many times a week?
Okay. I would say... Okay, so here's where it tends to like now winter season, like it'll tend to happen if I'm like leaving to go. So now we're going up to the mountains a lot. I was joking. There's a gas station that we stop at to fill up. We fill up the gas and I empty something else.
Oh my God.
I didn't make that joke then, but that's a great joke. And
you have like a designated shitter.
I didn't mean, now I feel like my body just knows. Like it's more the timing. We leave really early in the morning. I have my coffee. And then by the time I get to this gas station, I gotta go. And so I was laughing. I told Eli, I was like, I think I've taken more shits here than I have in my own house.
Sick. I'm so
like
mad right
in
now.
the past few weeks. And he's like, you actually might be right. Because I haven't been to like my house. I've been staying at Eli's. So
you know how I'm
this
not.
is a lot of shit talk.
I don't
it's a very
drink
shit
coffee.
heavy episode. Yeah.
And I kind of like judge you guys because you're like so obsessed with coffee or whatever.
Yeah.
But what percentage of the coffee obsession would you say is the effect that it has on your gastrointestinal?
For me, 0. I don't care.
You don't
I'm so regular. It just speeds up the process by I'm regular. I'm going that's
What
happening.
about most people? Do you think like that's a big draw or it's just like a bonus or something?
Bonus.
Oh God, it's so gross to me.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have a designated shitter.
Yeah. But this whole article, one of the things what I loved about this article, it was on Vice and it was called "Why Is Shitting Still So Embarrassing?" And it was fun because it gave a lot of fun. What I could call them nothing else besides poo facts.
What is it? What are they?
Like, for example, at this very second, right this second, approximately 79 million people around the world are currently taking shit.
79 million?
Right this second, like each second.
Wow.
It's something we do so regularly.
I just heard on NPR that every second 2 people die and 4 people are born.
And 79 million are shitting.
And 79 million of them.
Every second, I feel like more people are born than that.
It was basically that, like, we're repopulating at twice the rate that we're dying.
Oh, I see,
Yeah.
I see. Oh, ooh.
I know. It wasn't good news. And now they're all
That's bad.
shitting everywhere.
That's bad news. Yeah. Yeah.
There's just so double the shit.
One of the other things that I loved about this article is it gave the names, like the clever names for the trying to hide the sound and smell and things like that. So the New York Times published an article called "Women Poop and Sometimes at Work." And it was all about like the lengths that women go to try to avoid like this stuff. And they called it the poop dupe. And I just love that.
Yeah, what are they doing?
The poop dupe is pivoting the mirror to check your hair after seeing a colleague in the bathroom. So I don't know what that really means, but like maybe pivoting the mirror.
What mirror? Who can
I don't know.
pivot
That's just
that?
that's what it said. It said that the poop dupe, sometimes they use the method called the poop dupe. Pivoting to the mirror to check your hair after seeing a colleague in the bathroom. Oh, I see. So like you two are walking out, you see a colleague just come out of the restroom and you don't want to make eye contact with them because you know that they just took a shit. So you just like pivot towards the mirror to fix your hair to do the old poop dupe. Like,
oh, okay.
They're duping us out of that.
Right.
The other one that I thought was a funny name was the flush hush. This is the technique I use.
Oh.
Flush the toilet.
When you're tooting?
So nobody hears the sound.
But
here's what I learned. That is a risky move when you're at high intense flush situations. And then I started thinking about that, and that creeped me out and made me like, I was like, oh, this is disgusting. So now I have to do this awkward thing where I wait for somebody else to flush the toilet.
That's way worse.
This is it's just so funny that I read this article, because I read this article, no joke, 2 days after Eli and I had a full conversation about how even with people that we know so well, like, we can't do it. We can't do it. We can't just, like, I'll never just let you hear those sounds and just comfortably go without feeling of shame, without a feeling of embarrassment or shame afterwards.
I thought that we could, me and you.
Without shame, without me being like embarrassed.
Because I think I'm there. I think I'm ready.
This is what Eli and I said. Eli and I both decided that, like, we're like, should this be our New Year's resolution? We're just gonna like be less shameful about shitting.
I mean, you can in general, if you want, but you've only been together a short time in the big picture.
Not just with each other, but more like as humans. In general. Like, why should we you know, I don't have shame about a lot of other things, you know. And then he was telling me a story about his friend who has very little shame around that, and his friend was in the military, and he said he thinks that has something to do with it. And I was talking about how that is why I'm fine with changing in front of people wherever, because I changed on camera for 10 years. Yeah. I do not. I'm like in the parking lot, changing into like from one shirt to another, no bra, and like I do not care. Like, I mean, I'm like subtly, I'm like doing it with my arms, you know, doing the flip over the head. I'm not like taking my top off and walking around the parking lot, but I'm definitely like changing in the parking lot. Like, who cares? Okay, so they see a little bit of what, the side of my boob.
Well, this is getting real sexy. It's almost sexy enough where we could feature it on Dipsy.
Oh, because I can change my tone if you want. I can take my shirt off and you can see the side of my boob.
Have you guys tried Dipsy yet? Because number one, Dipsy, are you hiring? Because Sarah is available.
Oh God, I could do that.
Dipsy has hundreds of short, sexy audio stories designed by women for women. Yes. It could have been designed by Sarah based on this story. Mm-hmm. They bring scenarios to life with immersive soundscapes, realistic characters, and you can discover stories like that you would be into. You just like, maybe you want like hot and heavy hookups. Maybe you want like vacation themes. I keep laughing about how you said you needed
the camping one.
No, the ski patrol. Because, like, you're always skiing, and I was like, yeah, you were like, oh, damsel in distress. Ski patrol. Ski patrol. Ski instructor.
If they don't have that one on there, you know where to find me, Dipsy. Right.
But they're radically inclusive. They have stories for straight and queer listeners, and 56% of the stories are voice acted by people of color, which is very cool. Yes. But they also have sleep stories and wellness stories. They have lots of stuff. You should check them out. For listeners of the show, Dipsy is offering an extended 30-day free trial when you go to dipsystories.com/braincandy. That's 30 days of full access for free when you go to DIPSEA stories.com/braincandy, dipsystories.com/braincandy. Well, okay, Sarah. Yes. So I like the idea that like you're thinking just in general less shame, which I think is always good. Yeah. But I don't love when people like then they get silly about it. And
I'm not going to be silly about it. It's more of a how you feel when you walk out of the restroom. Because it's like, we're all doing it. And it was at this restroom where I was thinking about how the woman in the stall next to me sure is making a lot of noise. And I wonder if she's thinking the same thing I'm thinking of, like, oh my God, I hope nobody hears me. And if she's thinking that and I'm thinking that, we're both going to walk out of here. I'm never going to see her again in my life, probably. And I don't care. And she is like, what are we all worried about?
Well, and in a way, have you ever had that thing where you know that the person next to you is waiting till you leave and they're just sitting there?
That is what and we were like in a stalemate.
Yes.
We were in a game of chicken where, and both of us were probably had internal.
And you're like, I got all day, lady.
Or something. It was terrible. Or it's like about to explode from the inside out.
Because that's
so
creepy
bad.
and gross too.
It totally is. So we should just let her rip. The one in this article that I was like, what? This felt like when I discovered the poo knife. The article was interviewing people about their poo habits at work, things like that. And this one woman, and she's 26, and I feel like that matters because the age of the people they were interviewing were all like 26, 27, 28. Mm-hmm. She says that they've developed, that she has a method that they call in this article the poop pillow, where she says that it involves wrapping mounds of toilet paper around your hand and holding it under your bum. Then I quote, I catch the poo
absolutely
and
not.
Slow it from hitting the water so there isn't a sound.
See, this is what you see. Like, this is what shame can do to people, where you think that is better.
Right. You think that's better. Yeah. And then it says in this article, when Danny needs to poo at her boyfriend's house, she speaks in a baby voice to make it sound cute. I'm like, don't mind me. I'm just off to do a ickle poo poo. That's ICKLE. An ickle poo. What else? How else am I supposed to read that, people?
Yeah, that's a nickel poo poo.
Yeah. So the article also talked about some research, according to Healthline, about the percentage of men and women who say that they wait between 1 and 3 months before pooping at their partner's place. So what percentage of men and what percentage of women say they'd wait between 1 and 3 months between pooping at their partner's place?
Wow. I mean, I guess I would think women would wait longer.
You would think.
But it's false?
False.
Get
28% of men and 22% of women said that they wait between 1 and 3 months. What if what they don't tell us about that information is, what if 82% of men said that they'd wait between 0 and 1 month?
Yeah, right.
And 88% of women say they wait between now and never.
Right. Truly. Tell
Till
me
the
more.
end of time. Right. I think that may be some
that
information
guy's
we're
like,
kind
I
of missing.
shit on day one. I don't give a fuck.
I think that's it.
And I'm still waiting. I've been married for 12 years?
You're still not doing it. No, not going to happen.
No.
Yeah,
he thinks I don't do it.
Right. I told Eli I don't. Just nothing. No, I'm kidding.
And I get it if you think that's gross, because it's like, it's performing femininity.
They talk about that too, yeah.
It is, but it's also, remember how in the Amy Poehler book, or in some article or something, she talked about how, like, women behave in meetings and how men behave.
Yes.
And she was suggesting basically that we should do what the men do. And I was like, maybe we should just all do what the women do. Like,
right.
Oh, it's that email thing about using the word just. I'm just writing blah, blah, blah. And she's like, stop using the word just. Men don't do it. And I'm like, maybe men should do it.
Should. Be
maybe
a little
that's
polite.
nice.
Yes.
So I kind of feel like, hey, maybe we all need some more shame.
Yes. It says in a national survey of more than 1,000 Canadian women, 71% said that they'd go to great lengths to avoid defecating, especially in a public washroom.
Public washroom.
Yet we've all heard stories about guys texting friends pictures of their shits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do they do
what's
that?
up with that? They called it the gender politics of poo in this article. And
they're right about that.
And it's exactly what you said. It's this idea that femininity is incompatible with excretion. And it's they say in this article that it's widespread and there's no one single answer, that it's this double standard of hygiene.
It is.
And that it could also be linked to, we have it around menstruation as well. And so women get it even more than...
I mean, listen, this is a confession here. Because I reject a lot of the misogyny, but then I also participate in it, as most of us do.
Yes,
I
totally.
was getting ready on like New Year's Eve, wearing a cute little dress, and I was putting on my legs something that I own, which is this, it's called Body Blur.
Yes.
And it like...
I love that shit.
Yeah, it makes your legs look really
like
pretty.
Stockings. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Makes it look like you have stockings on. But basically what we're asked to do and what I'm agreeing to is that like I am not a person. I don't have skin texture. That I am like some
body
fembot.
blur. I need to blur my body.
Yeah. And it's insane. And I'm putting it on being like, this is the most ridiculous thing in the world. Like, I can't have legs. Normal legs with maybe like a little cut on it or something, whatever.
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm of two minds about it. But the truth is, the human body is disgusting. So really I'm kind of interested in hiding it.
It really is. And so I get into this is like true, like goblin mode. Like you get into this place where you're like, fuck all that. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like I stopped dyeing my hair.
Yeah.
I kind of go all in, you know? And I even like announced it to Eli. I'm like, just so you know, I'm eating everything I want and I'm just like,
that's so good.
I'm on
I love
vacation.
that.
I don't even care. But then I get to a point where I'm like, I like gross myself out. I'm like, I look in the mirror and I'm like, you should definitely pluck your eyebrows, Sarah. Like, there's something about, I don't know, it's kind of like how not doing the dishes is fun, but if you don't do the dishes for a few weeks, you'd probably be really grossed out by your house.
Well, the requirement feels oppressive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's different than, it's not like a hygiene thing of like, and it does feel like it's just for women. But
yeah, and that's how I felt putting that lotion on, where I was just like,
that's so interesting.
I agree the human body is disgusting, so I do like to conceal my humanness, but that's insane because we're humans.
Yeah, totally insane. I remember when I was in grad school, I did a cultural immersion project that where I was immersed myself in Sikh culture, and you go and you have like meal with different like Sikh families, and you interview people and you just like hang out and like learn about a different culture. And one of the things that I loved so much was the idea that they don't pluck no hair removal.
Yeah.
Like if you got it, it's supposed to be there. I think about that every time I pluck any hair from anywhere. I'm like, this is dumb. Why am I doing this? For what? Like, but then you get a good waxing, and damn, does that shit feel good. I'm like a new woman with the fresh wax job.
The counterpoint to, like, if it's meant to be there, it's there, is just that, like, when you ask a doctor, why do we have whatever, eyebrows or eyelashes, like, they'll come up with a thing. They always do. Like, they start at the end. It's like reverse engineering an answer where they're like, well, it must be about preventing germs from getting in your eyeballs.
Yeah. Except the nostril hair one.
What?
Did I tell you this, or did we talk about this on here yet?
How they're like not performing anyway?
There was a study that was done where it linked a bacteria to Alzheimer's. Yeah. And if you wax your nose hairs or pick your nose, you expose yourself to this bacteria at a higher rate. So people who wax their nose or pick their nose have higher rates of Alzheimer's because of this bacteria.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
So that's like, leave your fucking nose hairs in there and reduce your risks of Alzheimer's.
I agree.
So now Eli and I have changed over to a strictly trimming method.
I support that. But if you have like one errant mustache hair.
Get rid of that.
That is not some sort of divine, provenance. Yeah. This is, you got to get it out.
Yeah, I got one right here on my chin. That's right.
See, that's not doing you any favors.
No, no good. It's an accident.
God, turns out God does make trash. What do they say? God don't junk.
It's that extra.
God don't make no junk.
Oh God, I remember that song from.
Wait, well, how's it go?
I know I'm somebody, 'cause God don't make no junk. God don't make no junk. God don't make no junk. I know I'm somebody, 'cause God don't make no junk. Each one of us is special in his eyes.
That's nice. That's a nice song.
Really sweet. That's a lovely one. And you can like funk it up a little bit and be like, no way.
He doesn't.
No how. Yeah, like that.
Right.
It's fun. Okay, what else do I have? Do we have time for anything else? Any more poo facts? Well, I mean, the article really just like it all comes down to the same thing. It's exactly what you think. It's the shame around going to the bathroom comes from it being unsanitary. And
disgusting.
We have only recently, really, if you look at like human evolution, like it's sanitation and the disposal of waste is still a relatively new thing. And if you look at like human existence, so we're still kind of have that shame in it because we needed that to hide it so that we would maintain a sanitary living environment.
Yeah.
Because if we didn't have shame around it, we wouldn't want to do it away from people. And if we didn't want to do it away from people, then we would just take a fucking shit right on our boss's desk. And if we were all shitting on our boss's desk, and this place would be really fucking gross.
Right.
So, right?
Yeah. And that is helpful in determining who the people are that are in the out group. If you just like take a shit anywhere. Like, do you remember when our colleague Abram from MTV's The Challenge was arrested, I believe, for public intoxication, and then sat in the cell and made a BM and then used it to write on the walls.
Yep, I sure did.
And then I think after that was cast. He was still eligible.
I think you're right.
To be on the show.
I think you're right.
And is still seen as somebody that's like, oh, maybe they'll invite Abram. Like, nobody, can you imagine?
Nobody was like, let's not invite the guy who smeared feces on the wall.
Right. Then you have like you'll have a black woman on the show who like just pushes a chair like with some aggression. And they're like, well, she should never be invited.
Oh, God. It's the worst.
He wrote with poo, people.
I mean, come on.
That did not get enough attention.
No, it did not. It did not. That was insane.
That really was. Think about what it would take for you to get to that point where you're like, you know
Susie,
what?
I have not farted in front of the person I've been with for almost a year.
What would
you think I'm going to, anytime soon, start
do this
freaking
number.
Doing a Picasso on the wall with my poo-poo? No. No, thank you.
If
there's not a million, I wouldn't even, I'm turning my nose up at the poo pillow.
The poo pillow?
The poo pillow, the thing that we just read, I just shared about.
I'm sorry. I blocked it
it's
out.
new information. I say that like I expect you to have like this running like log of log.
No, right.
Nice. Yes. The new
paper
term that we just used, that I introduced you to this episode. It's right up there with poo knives, if you ask me.
I grew up in a home. My mom bought Scott brand toilet paper. If you're not familiar, it's basically invisible. It is single ply.
Oh God!
And it's like so thin that you just think like, this isn't even this can't be called paper.
This is a sheet.
It's a mesh
tissue. It's barely anything. Definitely poking a hole through that.
Yeah, and she says that it's not because of a budgetary issue. She claims that she prefers it.
What? That is impossible. Nobody prefers a chafed asshole.
I know. I'm going to have to follow up with her about that.
I can remember the thing that when I left Costa Rica after being there for a month with my mom, the thing I wanted the most was good toilet paper. The things, yep. I was like, and I went to, recently we stayed at a real nice hotel. I like cashed in some of my points and I'm going to stay at a bougie hotel. It was great. The bathrooms. Not the bathrooms in the room, but like the ones at the in the lobby and stuff like that.
Communal. Very
disappointed in their TP.
Wow, you even took note of it.
I was like, this is 2-ply accommodations. Step your game up.
Right.
Looking at you, Grand Hyatt. The end. I wasn't going to call them out, but now I am.
Let's wind down the toilet paper.
Oh my God, I'm living for the hand gesture that Susie just did for this. It was exactly what you'd imagine. And also done like somebody who's wrapped TP around their hand before. Well, that's the thing,
because you are a folder.
I'm a folder.
And I am a buncher.
She's a water, but we learned that most women are waters and most men are folders. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah.
We learned about some poo.
We learned about Celine Dion.
Celine Dion. And yes, our heart will go on.
Our heart will go on, always.
Yeah, kind of an aside, but did you see James Cameron did a study, like actually hired scientists to recreate that Titanic scene?
I read that, yeah.
Yeah.
What was the conclusion?
That he wouldn't have been able to stay on that it would have sunk with, and they had actors who were the exact size of Kate Winslet and Leonardo DiCaprio participate in the study.
The thing I liked about
study, that's in air quotes.
Yeah. Is because of my algorithm on YouTube during that sort of anniversary of the movie Titanic, I was suggested interviews with Titanic survivors from like the 1980s.
You do love old gossip. So
it was great. I really enjoyed it, and Lincoln and I watched together, and it was really interesting because to have been on the boat and then survived, and the interview was from like 1985, and she was very old at that time, obviously, by then, but like she was getting fed up because the guy was like, what was it like? And she was like, you know what it was like. She was so annoyed. What do you mean? The boat sunk. It was terrible.
The boat sank. It was cold.
Yeah.
We were wet.
It was terrible. My dad's dead. He's down there. Like her dad perished in this tragedy, and she and her mom, I guess, survived. But anyway, yeah, I didn't get any of the like Leo and Kate stuff. I got all like the real survivors.
Just the real. They're like, she likes old stuff.
Yes.
Feed her the black and white footage. That's what she likes.
This is in not HD. Susie would love it.
Yes, she will love it.
It is interesting, and it's really because the guy goes, did you talking about the iceberg and like, what do you think the captain's error was? Oh, and she goes, the error was not having enough lifeboats for everyone. And I was glad she said that.
I'm glad that's a good point.
Because then it doesn't matter what the captain does. Everyone's safe because you can get on a damn boat.
Right. I'm pretty sure they have that figured out now.
Well, that's why it changed
I think
the law.
You're right. Yeah. It's one of those things where...
Yeah, maritime law was changed because I've learned so much from these videos.
Oh my God. Who knew? Susie was going to have a whole other episode we could do just on Titanic facts.
I mean, I'm sure the captain did some shitty things, but like, if there were enough lifeboats, then we wouldn't have had a big problem.
This was a problem of resources. Yeah.
Anyway, we better go.
All right.
Well, we love you guys.
We'll see you next time.
Thank you for everything.